This episode,
you might want to protect your ears from this week's FAB Fact.
We're having trouble staying awake. Again, in the Randomiser.
and we head straight for the heart of New York
That's all coming up in Pod 87.
of the Gerry Anderson Podcast.
Let's get started. Let's go.
Spectrum is green.
The Gerry Anderson Podcast with Jamie Anderson and Richard James.
I can't believe we're still here and still getting away with it. What pod number is this?
4,312. Certainly feels that way. No, this is Pod 87 of the Gerry Anderson Podcast. I'm Jamie Anderson, and the other person you're listening to is Richard James. And we're here to talk about Gerry Anderson stuff for an hour and a bit.
Wow, crikey. Well, you're quick off the mark today, aren't you?
There's no messing around today, Richard. We're both busy people
We've got
with
things
busy
to do.
lives.
Yeah.
Well, yes, because when this podcast goes out,
Yes.
I shall actually be in Miami, Florida, the United States, the planet Earth.
Oh, will you?
Yes.
And what will you be doing there, aside from, lounging
Sipping cocktails,
poolside? Yes.
Yes, but, doing exciting deals with Miami gangsters.
Oh, right.
No, I won't be doing any of that. I'm there for an industry event called Kid Screen, where I shall be talking to people all over the world about Gerry Anderson stuff and
Great.
future Anderson things and stuff like that.
Yeah. Lovely.
So that's rather exciting. And also doing some writing with one of our collaborators on one of the projects
Right.
as well. So
Right.
that's very exciting.
Good.
And what does this week hold for you?
Well, I mean, I think I'm going to the solicitors tomorrow, just to
That's
sort out things about
exciting.
the house. I think I'll probably go for a walk this afternoon. Maybe
Great.
next week I might go for another walk. Actually, you know the
Great.
joke about why must an actor never look out the window in the morning?
What's the joke? Go on.
Because it gives him nothing to do in the afternoon.
Oh!
Luckily, I get to record a podcast every week.
Yes, that's fine.
So
We keep you busy,
yeah.
keep you out of trouble.
Exactly.
What's coming up, Richard James?
Well, Jamie Anderson, it's funny you should ask that because we've got all the usual gubbins that people know and love and have come to expect from the Gerry Anderson podcast. We've got a few tweets because people have been tagging us, him, I'm Jamie Anderson, or me, Richard N. James, hashtagging us Gerry Anderson podcast so we can see their tweets. Got some messages from the Facebook group. We've got an email or two. We've got, of course, the Randomiser with Chris Dale. Another random episode from the Gerry Anderson universe, which he will present to us and comment on and give us his thoughts on. We've got FAB Facts coming up in a little while. And what is this week's special feature, Jamie?
Oh, well, we hopefully gave it away or at least teased it in the opening this episode segment. But it is from the Big Finish Captain Scarlet 50th anniversary box set.
Oh.
One of the Ed Bishop narrated episodes of Captain Scarlet.
Great.
It's the Heart of New York.
I see. Now it makes sense.
Yes, those words make sense now. So yes, this is a freebie courtesy of Big Finish Productions, and if you enjoy it, then there are 7 more of those stories, those enhanced audio narration versions of the TV stories,
Yep.
and a load of other stuff on the Big Finish 50th anniversary box set, which is available from, well, bigfinish.com and the Gerry Anderson store, but we can plug that more later on.
Okay, great.
But Richard, I'm quite excited.
Are
well,
you?
Only in a sort of a naughty schoolboy way,
Right.
by what's about to happen.
Oh, well, what have you done?
Well, we've got a very special FAB Fact.
Oh, let's hear it.
Now, time for this week's FAB Facts.
Now, you made that ooh sound, and I think that's probably quite appropriate for what's
Right.
about to happen. Now, normally I would flick through a book of FAB Facts, you'd
Yeah.
shout FAB, and then I'd read the FAB Fact, and you say, gosh, that's fab.
Yeah.
But this time, our FAB Facts come from somewhere else.
Oh.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So I was telephoned by a couple of gentlemen known as Benjamin and Nicholas,
Oh, yes.
or to their listeners, Benji and Nick.
Yes.
On the Benji and Nick show, they were reviewing an episode of The Protectors,
Right.
that ITC show that Dad produced in the 70s,
Yeah.
starring Robert Vaughan and Nari Dawn Porter. And when they phoned me, they said, what was your dad's relationship like with Robert Vaughan? And I knew the relationship was not good.
Okay.
So I said it was poor, and I'd heard some stories about Robert being difficult, and probably, Dad being difficult back.
Yeah,
and, sometimes he didn't get on with people, but
Yeah.
it's just the way of the world, isn't it? So I went investigating, about the particular level to which relations fell between Robert Vaughan, but I also looked into the relationship with Nari Dawn Porter.
Yeah.
And here are two related FAB facts for the Protectors about Dad's relationship with the lead stars.
Okay, great.
The relationship between Dad and Robert Vaughan was problematic, to say the least.
Right.
And was possibly one of the reasons why the Protectors didn't continue for a third series.
Wow.
But things came to a head during the United States tour that Robert Vaughan went on to publicise the Protectors in 1972.
Okay.
He was at a press conference, journalists asking questions, and one of them said, Mr. Vaughan, could you tell us what it's like working with Gerry Anderson? What's he like? And Robert Vaughan said, yes, I can absolutely tell you what he's like. He's a...
Sorry?
Now, yes, I did say that. Yeah, so no, don't need to repeat it. As a result, ITC New York had to take out an injunction against Robert Vaughan, which prevented him talking about the Protectors during the remaining run of the publicity tour for the Protectors.
Okay, that's a bit weird. What did they talk about there? Anything but the Protectors.
I guess he wasn't allowed. Very bizarre. Anyway, it wasn't just Robert that Dad had a rocky relationship with. It was also Nari Dawn Porter. With her, matters came to a head when he signed a particular makeup artist because she was desperate to work with this guy. He was one of the top in the business.
Yeah.
But he couldn't be there for the first week when they were shooting in Spain. So Dad found a temporary one for the time being. But Nari Dawn Porter got on so well with this temporary makeup artist that when the new one was due to arrive, she said, no, don't want him. I like this one. Get rid.
Oh.
And Dad said, well, no, we got this one especially for you, and he's contracted and all this kind of stuff.
Hired.
Anyway, Nari just said, no, don't want him, not interested. Get rid.
Oh.
So that was all a bit tense. That evening, Dad was dining alone in a restaurant in Spain. And Nari burst into the restaurant, which was quite busy, and she said, You are a complete and utter... and I hate you. By this time, everybody in the restaurant had turned around, and Dad managed to keep his cool and said, right, is that it, or have you got anything else to say? She said, no, that's it, and stormed out. Wow.
I mean, really?
Talk about troubled relationships with your stars.
Where did you find this?
Well, the thing about Robert Vaughan's injunction is actually in one of Dad's biographies.
Oh, gosh.
The latter story comes from a third party.
Right.
Actually, that third party is Chris Dale, would you believe?
Oh, is it?
What a potty mouth he's got.
What a potty mouth Chris Dale has got. Yeah.
Yeah, he typed all those things.
That is extraordinary.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes my year at Pinewood filming Space Precinct feel like smooth, calm waters, which it was in comparison.
I don't know. But isn't it amazing that they managed to make these shows despite those really poor relationships?
Yeah.
And just to show that making TV shows is not always a bed of roses.
Well, no. I mean, it's all about the egos, isn't it? And I have to say, I've been very lucky in my career. I've never really come across anyone quite that bad. And I've worked with a few names in my time. But sometimes you do hit stories, and it's always about the egos, isn't it?
Unfortunately so.
Gosh.
What a clash. Anyway, I think probably the less said about this FAB fact, the better.
Maybe.
So let's bring it to a close. That is definitely the end of this week's
Fact! Well, that's a first for the Gerry Anderson podcast, isn't it? I think I've never heard so many bleeps in 1 minute.
Probably the last. Well, this is a clean podcast, so yes, we made sure all those were covered.
Absolutely.
You know, and obviously none of those words were really that rude at all.
No, they really weren't. No, absolutely. And actually, while we're on the subject, Jamie, where's my makeup artist then that you promised for me for the podcast? No, I think
still working on it.
Yeah.
We'll get you a temporary one.
I think I may be beyond help, to be honest. Anyway, you're listening to the Gerry Anderson podcast. One thing we'd love you to do is to subscribe to us on whichever channel you're listening to us on. It's quite easy to hit the subscribe button, and I think there's a notification button sometimes as well, so that you get notified every time a new podcast drops. Also, you can leave us a review or a rating, as many of you have been doing, and also would love it if you would share us with your friends so they can get to hear us too, and they might even share us with their friends, and so we exponentially grow into world domination.
Who's Pinky and who's the brain?
Yeah. No comment.
Yeah, right, okay, fine, good.
Now, I have had an email here because people have been getting in touch via podcast@gerryanderson.co.uk. This is from Megan. Megan says, "Greetings, gentlemen. Sorry I've been a little bit quiet over the Christmas and New Year period." She said, "A trip to the South Island of New Zealand had me out of the country and leaves me 6 weeks behind in the podcast." She says, "Unfortunately, my Gerry Anderson Christmas sweater did not arrive in time for the trip and has been put away for this year. Hope all is well with you both, and here's to a wonderful 2020 for the fandom," from Megan. And that got me thinking. So I would like to ask the listeners at home, the listeners to the podcast, are you up to date? Are you behind? How far behind are you? There's a flaw in this, isn't there?
I think there might be. I mean, as we're doing pod 144, someone's going to go, well, I've just got up to date.
Yes.
But there'll be 60-something
pods
behind.
I look forward to their response in 60 weeks' time. But also, do you go back and listen? Do you have a favourite podcast? Let us know what your favourite interview was, or maybe your favourite FAB Fact, if you have such a thing.
I think it might be today's for some people.
Yes, could well be. So do let us know. Drop us a line, podcast@gerryanderson.co.uk, telling us when your favourite podcast was. Do you listen in batches? Have you gone back to listen to others? And also, we haven't heard for a while any audio clips. So do send in your audio files for us to play out next time.
I'd forgotten all about those.
That's right. Shame, isn't it?
Well, it won't be a shame if somebody actually sends one in. So,
no, exactly.
Yes, do pop one over to us. Thoughts, questions, anything else, all appreciated.
Yeah.
Right, do you want some news?
Oh, sure, yeah, why not?
There's quite a lot of Gerry Anderson news, so let's get started. Gerry Anderson news is here.
Yes.
Go on.
Go
on
now?
Say it.
Okay. Newsy news.
Thank you very much. Now, Richard, I saw you reading ahead in the script.
Yes.
And going, T-DAT? What's T-DAT?
Yeah. What's going on?
Well, it stands for the day after tomorrow.
Of course it does.
Which, of course, is Wednesday.
Yeah.
From the day of release.
Oh, yes.
Anyway, yes, the day after tomorrow, a lesser-known Gerry Anderson pilot, originally shown in the 1970s and showed again a few years ago on BBC 4 as part of Brian Cox's special night that he had.
Right.
If you may remember, it's got Nick Tate and Brian Blessed and Joanna Dunham and Martin Lev and Kate Levy in it.
Oh, yeah.
Bit of Ed Bishop voiceover.
Great.
So it was only a pilot episode, but it was meant to spin off into a full series, but that never happened because it wasn't successful enough as part of NBC's Special Treat series, I think. Anyway, if you want to learn more about the original, then you can go over to our YouTube channel and watch the Day After Tomorrow primer.
Ah.
But if you want to know what happened next, then you'll definitely want to pick up The Day After Tomorrow Into Infinity and The Day After Tomorrow Planetfall.
Oh, yes.
Which are two novels written by Gregory L. Norris, which continue the adventures of the crew of the Alteres, including once they've got through the black hole, the first time they encounter a planet.
Ah,
ooh.
Okay.
So both books are available on the Gerry Anderson store now, shop.gerryanderson.co.uk, or Amazon if you prefer.
Yeah.
And also as Kindle ebooks if you want to grab them from there.
Yeah, good. Nice.
So, and they've got really lovely covers on them.
Cool. Love that. Love a good cover.
They are really nice artwork.
Look at the spines on that.
Well, the spines aren't so great, but the front cover's great.
All right.
Okay, so that's that. Go grab those books, have a read, let us know what you think. Definitely leave a review on Amazon if you grab one from there. That would be super. Thank you very much in advance. If you're more of a keyring or t-shirt person...
That's me. Oh, yeah.
You like both, don't you, at the same time?
Can't get enough of them.
Yeah, well, our International Rescue keyrings are back in stock. They've been gone for, gosh, what feels like a year.
Right.
I don't think it's that long.
Yeah.
That was my dog going out the cat flap.
Bye. Something you said.
Bye, Ernie. Bye. But also, you know the Captain Scarlet end title cards by Ron Embleton?
Yeah.
Oh, they're lovely images, aren't they? Well, they've all been squeezed onto one single T-shirt.
Oh, brilliant.
Actually, I think it's available as a mug as well. But the Captain Scarlet title T-shirts are now available from the Gerry Anderson store, and they look rather lovely.
I bet, yeah.
I'm not sure I've ever seen all the cards in one place before, so it's really nice to see. So go and grab those. They look rather nice. There's an article on the Gerry Anderson website by Chris Dale. The top 5 Gerry Anderson theme songs.
Oh, songs specifically, not tunes.
Oh, songs, no songs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Obviously, Protectors, Avenues and Alleyways is in there.
Yeah.
But I won't spoil any more. You'll have to go and find out what the other 4 are for yourself.
Yeah.
If you're a bargain hunter,
Yeah.
which I'm sure some of you are, then we have got loads of end-of-line and returned items which are now available on eBay.
Really?
And if you want to find those items, you can go to ebay.co.uk/USR/Anderson Entertainment, all one word.
Okay.
I guess USR is user.
Yeah.
They wanted to drop the E because the E made it too long. ebay.co.uk/USR/Anderson Entertainment. And there's loads of stuff there. Things which are now sold out, end of line, few sort of lost last items, and a few odds and sods that may not have previously been on the Gerry Anderson store. So
Right.
go grab those.
I see. Now, but is this like on eBay, people generally bid for stuff? Is it the same sort of thing, or they're available for a set price?
Some are bid, some are fixed price.
see,
I think
great.
you'll have to go and investigate.
Yes.
There are a couple of Space 1999 and Terrorhawks calendars left at, as Tim tells me, a knockdown price.
Oh, yeah.
But there's only a couple left.
Right.
They've been rather popular, actually, and
I'm
they
sure.
look rather smart, and they also run until January 2020, so even now you still get about 12 months use out of them.
Yeah, that's not bad, is it?
So go and grab that. AC has written a really lovely A21 article about Captain Ochre escaping death. Or does he?
Oh.
Ah, exactly. And perhaps later this week you may be able to find on the Gerry Anderson website an article all about love in the Anderverse.
Ah, is that just in time for Valentine's Day?
It is indeed, that's the plan.
Okay, so I'm betting that there's going to be an Officer Castle and Jack Haldane little thing there, isn't there?
Well, I was hoping for an Oren and Romac article.
Well, there
but,
is that, of course, yes.
Let's see. Let's see. That'll be down to
Sweet.
Chris. So yeah, go and check that out on Valentine's Day. We hope you have a lovely week, whether or not you're a Valentine's person. I'm not really. I'm
No,
more sort of
I'm
anti-Valentine's. to be honest.
No.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
But do email us with your thoughts, podcast@gerryanderson.co.uk, about Anderverse romances that never happened that you wish had.
Now, Jamie, you've opened a door there, haven't you?
Yep, and I shan't be shutting it for some time.
No,
so
great.
Do
Okay.
email in with the romances you wish you'd seen on screen but never did.
All right.
And I think that's probably the perfect place to bring to a close this week's edition of the Gerry Anderson News.
That was the news, the Valentine's news.
Slightly premature there, but
No,
yes,
it's this week, isn't it?
it is this week.
Anyway, you're listening to the Gerry Anderson podcast. Lots of people have been getting in touch. Should give a mention to our Facebook group, of course, facebook.com/groups/Podsterons, where, for example, Bill
Podsterons!
Ronald, Bill
I
Ronald
like
has been
that.
posting his Thunderbirds bubblegum card collection. Emma Nichols has been wondering if anyone else thinks there should be a TV channel just for Gerry Anderson shows. But Joanne Bennett posted, I was listening to the latest podcast this morning. I was so glad I listened to it in the car on my way to work rather than while I was at the gym. I proper screamed with excitement when my question got asked that I missed Richard's answer and had to go back and listen to it again. Anyway, she says, if you haven't already, you need to check out the Bowman of the Yard podcast. It's... sorry, that's from the wrong folder.
Richard,
No, I do
yeah,
apologise.
any chance to promote your books, eh?
Terribly sorry. Sorry about that, Jamie. Meanwhile, on Twitter. Now, Andy Coe tweeted, because as you know, Jamie, I'm a big fan of the chase and fancy myself as a bit of a chase expert. Well, this week they had a question. I think it was the Beast was the chaser this week, and there was a question.
Ah.
Martin Landau played Commander Koenig in which Gerry Anderson TV series?
Ah.
And the options were Space Precinct, UFO, or Space 1999.
Excellent.
So there, I can almost say that I've sort of appeared on the chase, can't I?
Pretty much, yeah, distantly. Now, did the chaser and the chasee get it right?
Now that I don't know because I didn't actually see the episode, so I'm going to go back and watch it. And I'll let you know.
Well, I hope they did get it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a Gerry Anderson fan in the quiz setting
Every now and then
department.
something pops
there,
up,
isn't
doesn't
there?
it? That's right. Well, it
Yeah.
might even be Bradley himself, I suppose. He's a bit of a sci-fi
Yeah, that's possible.
nut, isn't he? Yeah.
Well, always nice to see Gerry Anderson stuff appear in the contemporary quiz world.
Of course it is. So if you spot anything, do let us know and read out the question for us, but write it down and the options as well, and we'll read them out on the podcast next time. Because they do pop up all over the place. Only Connect, I think, had one a couple of weeks ago as well.
Oh, really?
Mastermind, of course, Samira Ahmed.
Well, we know that
all
one.
round on Space 1999. Yeah, so they do crop up.
Excellent. If you've spotted a Gerry Anderson quiz moment anywhere, do email us,
Exactly.
podcast@gerryanderson.co.uk.
Exactly.
Burping. Okay, Richard. I think we should give our Podsterons a bit of a treat, don't you?
Oh, yes, I think they deserve it.
because we gave them the first 15 minutes of Sail of the Galaxy last week.
Yes.
And I had quite a few requests saying, oh, what about the rest of it?
Yeah.
Now, we can't give away everything for free forever, as much as that would be great, wouldn't it?
Well, of course it would, yes.
But in this case, I think we're more than happy to give you an absolutely full and free episode of Classic Captain Scarlet with additional audio narration by Ed Bishop, taken from the Big Finish Productions 50th anniversary box set, which is still available. So why not sit back, relax, and enjoy the dulcet tones of Ed Bishop as he narrates Captain Scarlet, The Heart of New York.
The Podsterons, sworn enemies of Earth, possessing the ability to recreate an exact likeness of an object or person. But first, they must destroy. Leading the fight, one man fate has made indestructible. His name, Captain Scarlet. Criminals will do practically anything for money, and the three robbers in this story are no exception. Their greed for money was greater than anything else. But these guys hadn't counted on the power of the Podsterons, and from the very beginning, their plans were doomed. I'm Captain Blue of Spectrum, and I'm going to take you on an exciting adventure to the heart of New York, the next Podsteron target. It began late one night when a mini-submarine surfaced about a mile off the coast, close to a large building which housed the Spectrum security vaults.
Stop the engine. We can drift to shore from here. Spectrum security vaults, night guard here. No, I'm sorry, there's no one else around.
But the guard was wrong. The mini-sub had landed, and its occupants were now making their way up the beach to the security building.
Yes, I'll do that. I'll pass on the message in the morning. Right. Goodbye.
The guard's coming out. Give me the disc.
The disc in question was a small electronic device. One of the robbers tossed it from behind some bushes. It landed over near the security gate. After a few short seconds, it began to pulse with an electronic sound which attracted the attention of the guard. The guard cautiously opened the gate, a careless move because the disc was a booby trap. As he bent down and touched the device, it suddenly sprayed nerve gas in all directions. With the guard now unconscious, the robbers were able to make their move.
Hold it. Wait for the gas to clear. Right, come on. He'll be out for about a half an hour. How long will you need to open the strong room?
About 10 minutes. Carl gave me all the detailed drawings, the circuit diagrams for the alarms, everything. I'll get the equipment.
Right. And I'll borrow the keys from our old buddy here. I'm sure he wouldn't want us to start breaking down doors to get in.
In a matter of minutes, the robbers were ready to blow the vault.
Well, I've taken care of the alarm system. One little bang in the right place, and she's open.
Get back behind the table.
They retreated and took cover from the imminent blast.
How long?
5 seconds. Now.
We've done it. The door's opening.
Beautiful.
Well, let's see just how rich Spectrum are.
This is the voice of the Podsterons. We know that you can hear us, Earthmen. We've seen the greed and corruption of the world in which you live, and will take our revenge upon it. We will destroy the heart of New York. We have not forgotten.
Captain Scarlet and I were dispatched to investigate the break-in at the security vault.
I don't know why Colonel White sent us here. It looks like a job for the Spectrum Police.
What a mess. Have you any idea what's missing?
No, I haven't had time to check.
Do we know what was in the strong room?
Nothing but documentation and microfilm. All on the secret list, grade A security.
Well, it looks like an inside job. Whoever opened this strong room door knew just what they were doing.
Yes, it's obviously been done by professionals, but there's something funny about it. I'll report to Colonel White.
Yes, Captain Scarlet?
We've talked to the guard, Colonel.
How is he?
Oh, he's fine. They used some kind of nerve gas, but he's fully recovered.
I'm glad to hear it. Go on.
We're inside the Spectrum security vault, but something just doesn't add up. The job was planned most efficiently, and the strong room opened with a minimum of effort. But the whole place has been ransacked. It's as if they didn't know what they were looking for.
I see. Well, it doesn't sound like the work of the Podsterons. I wanted you to check it out first, but now I think we can leave it to the Spectrum Police. Captain Scarlet, I want you and Captain Blue to concentrate on the latest Podsteron threat. Go to New York at once.
Yes, Colonel, we'll leave immediately.
And soon we were bound for New York in the Spectrum jet.
That break-in at Spectrum security vaults, it's still puzzling me. I can't get it out of my mind.
I know what you mean.
Why would a group of apparently professional criminals go to such trouble to break open a strong room full of what to them must be useless documentation?
At that very moment, the robbers were examining their haul.
Useless. Junk. Kruger and I risk our necks to get a heap of useless paper.
How was I to know what was inside?
You work at the plant where the vault was made? It should have been checked out.
Look, Spectrum ordered a strong room. Not just any strong room, but the best. Now, you'd think they'd use it for storing something more valuable than papers. Isn't that reasonable?
Will you two stop arguing? Have either of you read any of these documents?
A few of them. Why?
I have here a Spectrum report on the Podsterons. It's headed Top Secret. Listen to this. The Podsterons have the power of retrometabolism. They can destroy an object or person and reconstruct them for their own ends.
Go on.
The report then describes an eyewitness account of a reconstruction as it actually happened.
Very interesting material, but it doesn't help us. Unless you're thinking of writing a book.
Not a book. Maybe a play. And we'll all be in it. I think I know how to make the Podsterons work for us.
The heart of a great city.
Yes, but the pulse seems to have stopped now that the people have gone.
Well, the evacuation's complete, and the detector roadblocks will warn us of any Mysterons who try to enter the city. We'd better organize a search for booby traps that may have already been planted.
Enough to blow a whole city block to pieces.
Well, all we plan to do is blow open one small safe.
Yes, but what a safe. The head office of the Second National Bank, New York. The gold reserve for the whole eastern seaboard is held in there.
Do you think it'll work?
Sure it'll work. Inside an hour, we will all be Mysterons. Now you know what to do. There it is ahead. Get out that bottle of whiskey and splash it around.
Arriving at a lookout tower in the forest, they began to play out their little hoax on an unsuspecting witness.
Hey, buddy, I think we spotted a fire.
Whereabouts?
Come down here. I can't hear you.
Right.
Here he comes now. Well, you must get quite a view from up there.
Here, pal. Have a drink.
No thanks. You said you saw a fire.
The man said have a drink.
Look, quit playing games, will you? Pull off the road and sober up.
Are you insinuating I'm drunk?
By the smell of liquor in this car, I'd say you'd all had enough.
Let's get out of here.
Take my advice, friend. Keep the speed down. There are some mighty dangerous bends just ahead.
You just watch you don't fall off that tower.
Stupid fools.
Well, we convinced him. He won't forget our faces in a hurry.
We'll stop around the next bend. We'll be out of sight of the lookout. Right, get the dummies out of the trunk. If we can roll the car down to that clearing, it'll be in full view from the tower when it goes over the edge.
Right.
The robbers got out and rigged their deception. Using 3 dummies, they made the car appear still occupied.
Very lifelike. Is the pedal jammed down hard?
Yeah.
Right. Put her in drive. It's nearly there. He should spot it any moment.
From the watchtower, the lookout saw the car come back into sight. Spotting the dummies, he mistook them for the robbers.
Drunken fools, they're gonna kill themselves.
Out of control, the car careered off the mountain road.
I warned them.
Through his binoculars, the lookout saw the car burst into flames.
The car sailed right over the edge. They didn't stand a chance. They must have all been killed instantly. Yeah, I saw the whole thing. Right. I'll wait for you.
Shouldn't you be looking out for fires?
But I saw you. You were all killed. The crash, the fire.
You're wrong, Earthman. Tell the authorities we Mysterons intend to destroy the Second National Bank of New York. Tell them that when you wake up.
The fire lookout has a first-class record and is considered absolutely reliable.
Well, it looks as if his story must be believed.
Yes, sir. It seems the Mysterons have taken over 3 men and intend to destroy the Second National Bank in New York.
The Second National Bank. That could be called the heart of New York. Well, I'm not going to risk Spectrum lives trying to save a bank. Put me in touch with Captain Scarlet.
Yes, sir.
What's the latest situation, Captain Scarlet?
We organized a systematic search of the whole area, and we've nearly covered all of the city center.
So far, no sign of a Mysteron booby trap.
Has the area been evacuated?
Yes, sir. Only the police and Spectrum personnel are left.
Well, I want you to pull everyone out.
Pull out, sir?
Yes, Captain.
The Mysterons have narrowed their field of attack to the Second National Bank. I don't pretend to understand why, but if they do succeed, I don't want any of our men hurt in the explosion. Pull back to the roadblocks.
Yes, sir.
Well, we'll be inside the city limits in 5 minutes.
A roadblock. Better ease up.
Right.
It's a Spectrum roadblock. We'll have to be careful.
Spectrum will be looking for Mysterons. That's the way we planned it. We'll get through.
3 men have just pulled up. Gray Saloon, license number 101X238.
Keep them talking while I check them out with the Mysteron detector.
SIG. Contact me over the personal receiver. I'll turn the volume right down so they can't overhear.
SIG, Captain Magenta.
What's the trouble, Captain?
Just a routine check, gentlemen.
Concealed inside a tent, Captain Ochre scanned the villains with a Mysteron detector.
Negative.
I'm sure you're aware of the Mysteron threat and that this is a restricted area.
Oh, yes, but we understand the Mysterons have now limited their target to one small area downtown.
Two are negative, Captain Magenta. I'm checking on the third.
I'm afraid I have my orders. No unauthorized personnel can pass through.
We understand, Captain. I think this is what you need.
You're government agents. Where are you heading?
Like you, Captain. We have our orders.
They're all clear, Captain Magenta. They can proceed.
Well, gentlemen, everything seems to be in order. I must warn you that you enter entirely at your own risk. If you do run into difficulties, Spectrum cannot help. All our personnel have been pulled back outside the roadblocks. But you are clear to proceed. Good luck.
Thanks, Captain. We'll manage.
Well, I've got to hand it to you, Kruger. You were smooth.
He even told us they had pulled all their men back.
Well, boys, the town has been evacuated. We can take our time and just help ourselves to the money.
But someone else was there, watching from high on a building opposite the bank as the robbers' saloon drew up outside. It was Captain Black.
There it is. Let's go.
Scarlet and I pulled up at Captain Magenta's roadblock.
Captain Scarlet, Captain Blue.
3 men were reported heading this way. Have they been through here yet?
Yes, we let them pass about 15 minutes ago.
You let them pass?
Yes, they checked out clean. They knew the Mysterons had changed their target and had government authorization to enter.
Government agents, eh?
Yes.
Wait a minute. How did they know about the Mysteron change of plan? That information was only circulated to Spectrum personnel.
You're right.
It's beginning to fall into place. They must be the Mysterons the fire lookout saw in the crash.
But they were checked out by the detector, and they weren't Mysterons.
There's only one explanation. That accident was faked. The city's evacuated. They're going to rob the Second National Bank. I'm going in. Put Colonel White in the picture.
We can forget the alarms. No one's going to hear them. Just fix the explosive.
Right.
It's uncanny. The silence, I mean. No traffic, no people, an empty city.
Empty, that is, except for one person. One so dangerous and deadly. Captain Black had now entered the bank and was quietly making his way in the direction of the vault.
What was that?
What was what?
I thought I heard something. Someone outside.
There can't be. The city's empty. Let's get the safe door open.
Listen. There it is again.
Look, I heard nothing. The quicker we blow that door, the quicker we can get out of here. Let's move.
Close by, Captain Black was watching their every move.
How far to the bank?
About 2 miles.
Let's hope we're in time.
Meanwhile, The robbers had just blown the bank vault. The vault door swung open.
Perfect. Let's get the money and gold and get out of here.
There must be millions.
We'll load the gold first. Don't try and carry too much at a time. It's heavy.
Stay where you are, Earthmen. The greed that brought you here will cost you dearly. In 5 minutes, this bank will be destroyed, and you with it.
Let us out!
You can't leave us here.
Captain Black was not a man of compassion. He was a Mysteron who had turned his back on humankind a long time ago. Leaving the three trapped inside the vault, he took their saloon parked outside the bank and drove it back towards the roadblock. Meanwhile, myself and Captain Scarlet were approaching in the opposite direction in our Spectrum saloon.
Look, there's a car coming towards us. That's it. Grey Saloon, registration 101X238.
But there was only one man in it.
Yes, and unless I'm very much mistaken, that man was Captain Black. We're closing on him. Warn the roadblock. We've got him trapped.
Captain Magenta, the Grey Saloon is approximately 1 mile from the roadblock. We suspect Captain Black is driving. Make sure he does not escape.
Don't worry, Captain Blue. He won't get through here.
Captain Black, this is the voice of the Mysterons. There is a roadblock ahead, and a Spectrum saloon behind you.
On receiving the warning, Captain Black took a sharp left and proceeded down another street. It was no good. The turning led into a blind alley, a dead end. He was trapped. But just then, the unbelievable happened. The car and Captain Black disappeared into thin air. Our car turned the corner seconds too late.
He's gone. Vanished into thin air.
He can't have.
There's no way out. Absolutely none. He's vanished like a ghost.
The Mysterons have powers we cannot hope to understand.
Meanwhile, back at the bank, an explosion ripped apart the entire building.
Now that the full story has emerged, we see how the greed of 3 men resulted in their eventual death. The Mysterons also recognize the corruption and greed of man and have destroyed, as they said they would, the heart of New York, the Second National Bank. But surely these 3 men were not typical of mankind, whom I believe to be basically good. And because of this, I am convinced of our ultimate victory against the Mysterons.
Captain Scarlet. Captain Scarlet. Captain Scarlet. Captain Scarlet. Captain Scarlet. Indestructible Captain Scarlet.
Wow. It's
quite a nice treat to actually give listeners a full episode of something, isn't it?
Absolutely, because very often it's a taster, quite a long taster generally, but a taster nonetheless. Quite nice to have the whole kit and caboodle there to listen to.
Yeah, and although it's an episode that lots of people have seen, if they've got the DVD or the Blu-ray or whatever, it's just nice to have that additional layer with the Captain Blue narration stuff.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah, isn't
very
it
nice? Absolutely.
And also, I mean, was it right? Was it okay that the Mysterons murdered the bank?
Well, I wasn't going to say anything. It seemed a bit grim, didn't it?
It's a weird one. It's a very different style to anything else. It just really makes you think about how dark and grim Captain Scarlet really was.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
But what do you think, Podsterons? How do you feel about the Heart of New York? Is it okay? Is it weird? Do you wish something else had happened at the end? I don't know. Let us know. Podcast at gerryanderson.co.uk.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like I'm saying that a lot today.
You have, but that's good. We'd love to hear from our listeners, as you know. Urban Spaceman 64, for example, over on Twitter, he's been watching The Secret Service, something he's never seen before. And I've been watching this sort of thread, really, over the last few days as he's got to know the series a bit more. He said, I've only seen 2 episodes so far, but it's so much fun. Even the human puppet exchange isn't too jarring, in my opinion, and he said this could easily have been a live-action series. What amazes me is that I've taken so long to get around to watching it. Yeah, absolutely. It is one of those, isn't it, that you take a while to get round to. But as in his case, he seems to be rather enjoying it.
Well worth it. Yes, lots of people keep discovering new Gerry Anderson shows through the podcast, the primers, all sorts of other stuff, so I'm glad to see that happening here for the Secret Service.
Yep, and finally for now, the official Gerry Anderson Facebook account posted a poll this week, wanting to know where you'd prefer to spend your tour of lunar duty, either on UFO's Shadow Moonbase or on Space 1999's Moonbase Alpha, to which Carl Scott responded, Shadow Moonbase. He said, I'd rather have to deal with a few pesky aliens than getting blown out into deep space. Jeff Tilley says, well, Moonbase Alpha, so much room. But Colleen Tierney said, Moonbase Alpha, but only if Paul Foster was on duty there. Okay, fair enough. So there you go. Again, let us know. Where would you rather serve your term of duty on the moon? Would it be the Shadow Moonbase or Moonbase Alpha? What do you think, Jamie?
I mean, if the moon wasn't going to be blown out of Earth's orbit, Alpha seems a bit more exciting, a bit more to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and cleaner, to be honest.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
What, you think Shadow Moonbase was a bit grubby?
I mean, yeah. If you look at the surfaces, just run your finger along those shelves. Oh, they've always got other things to think about.
Fair enough. Although, as we know from the Blu-ray on Space 1999, those desks were all a bit greasy and fingerprinty and dirty, weren't they?
That's true, yeah. So, yeah, oh God. No, it's a quandary, isn't it?
Luckily, I'm not a clean freak, so I don't really mind.
Fair enough. So yes, do get in touch with us on Twitter and Facebook and send us in your emails and so on, and we'll read them out next time.
Perfect. Now, next week, just in the vein of giving people free audio stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We are going to do another free audio thing next week, and it's more Captain Scarlet, would you believe?
Brilliant.
It's Spectrum File 3, where the Angels face off against Captain Black, starring Wayne Forrester, Liz Morgan, and narrated by David Graham. It's really lovely, and we're going to give you the first 15 minutes or so of that just to give you a flavour, because, the Spectrum files, we put a lot of work into those, and they're really, really nice extensions of the worlds of Captain Scarlet, so definitely worth a listen, so you can look forward to that next week, and then we'll be back after that with more interviews. I've got some amazing ones coming up.
Great.
More on those soon.
Lovely.
Oh,
yeah, you're right. Need to take
a
breather.
Like a rest, yeah. What can we do to give us both a rest?
I don't know, what, sort of 15, 20 minutes or so?
Something like that would be great.
If Chris Dale's got any ideas?
Yeah. Chris, can you come in and do a randomiser, please?
You don't need another specimen. Hello everyone. Well, after I was a bit poorly in last week's Randomiser intro, I thought I'd better get a checkup from one of the many fine doctors of the Gerry Anderson universe. But they were all busy, so Marina's brought me back to Marineville for a consultation with Dr. Doc.
What is it, Doc? Exhaustion, maybe?
Oh, I'm baffled, Commander. The tests don't tell us anything.
Well, I wouldn't have thought there'd be anything to find. I mean, it was only a cold.
I'm afraid it's not that easy, Commander. There's no doubt he's dying.
You what?
Oh, no. He can't be.
I've done all I can, Atlanta.
You mean you've done nothing and you're all out of ideas? What do you mean I'm dying?
I'd say he'll be gone in 4 hours.
Marina is agreeing. The doctor must be right.
Oh, there must be a first time for everything, but I'm sure this isn't it.
In other words, you don't know the cause.
At the moment, no.
Well, we're going to have this case wrapped up in no time at all, aren't we?
I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do.
Well, there is one thing.
I'm afraid the task is beyond me.
or any Earth doctor.
Well, pressing the button on the randomiser for me? I'm sure even Dr. Venus could manage that.
I'll do all I can, but time is short.
Oh, thank you. So, Doc, what are you hoping for from today's episode?
Some kind of trance. Form of paralysis.
Well, any episode with you in is guaranteed to cause such things, but...
That is the answer.
Indeed. Oh, it looks like you're going to get your wish. We're facing the hypnotic sphere in Fireball XL5.
At the moment, that's all we can do.
So I'm recording this one after a week of a few sad losses to the Gerry Anderson universe. We, of course, lost Nicholas Parsons, voice of Tex Tucker. We've lost Alan Harris, who was an extra in all of the live-action Gerry Anderson productions except for Secret Service and Space Precinct. And Space Police. And we've also lost Alan Fennell, writer, director, doer of lots more things, and generally all-round good chap. So I was hoping that this week's randomizer might throw up something connected with one of those three people, and as it turns out, we have this Hypnotic Sphere, directed by Mr. Alan Patillo. I have a feeling that I said Alan Fennell back there.
Almost through, Steve.
Do I abort this? Oh no. Oh no, because if I've said it wrong, then I'm going to be crucified. But I said Alan Patillo. I definitely said Alan Patillo. Ow! And I won't mention this anymore in case I did say Patillo before, and I'm just wasting everybody's time rambling like this.
Robert's about due for a checkup.
I've been ill, remember?
Up, Robert. I have a checkup, you have a checkup.
Say, Steve, I picked up a lone satellite ahead on the spacemograph.
Well, I'll leave you two to your stargazing. I must make out my report.
So Venus has been carrying out medical on Steve while he's flying the ship.
Be a space probe.
Always a good thing to do.
We've had no news of any activity from there. Wait, yeah, I have it.
And this is, although it's the second episode of Fireball XL5 produced, I believe this is episode 37 in broadcast order.
I'll try to contact it by...
So that often means that...
XL5, come in, EFZ4.
It was shunted to the end either because nobody was particularly proud of it or because they just kind of forgot about it. And I think there's quite a bit already, we can tell. I don't know if it's maybe the condition of the episode itself, but it looks very dark.
The tanker now.
Roger, Steve.
Although I suppose it makes sense that in the void of space, it would seem quite dark in the cabin of XL5. I suppose it looks quite nice, actually. Anyway, we've got this Earth freighter just hanging in space.
Well, you're gone. I'll report to Space City.
Uh-oh.
Okay, Venus.
They've left Venus in the pilot's seat. This could end badly.
Don't forget your oxygen pills, Steve.
Oh, thanks, Venus.
About to enter ejection room.
We were going to eject ourselves into the void of space without taking those. Actually, this is XL5. They might well have been. Also strange with XL5, they actually call it the ejection room, but they only have one ejection capsule. Which means that if there's 2 or 3 of them going out to investigate something... Oh, I was going to say they have to wait around for everyone, but no, Steve's just going straight over to the freighter before Matt's even joined him. Yeah, it does... I don't know why... I mean, from a production standpoint, it makes sense they would only build the one. But you would have thought on a spaceship you'd be better off with, 2 or 3. Maybe even 1 for each of the crew. I don't know. I'm not a futuristic spaceman.
Tanker entrance located, Matt. Opening now.
It says entrance. That's always handy, Matt.
We are entering the tanker now, Venus.
Roger, Steve. And please, be careful.
Steve, Venus seems to be...
Your flashlight, Matt.
Roger.
Well, there are stars moving past XL5's window quite fast. I think she may have abandoned them without realising it. Oh, well.
Boy, it's cold in here. All the power must have failed.
Yeah, sure feels like it.
And we just opened the door to space. Probably doesn't help. Now, so far throughout this episode, Steve has been wearing his blinking head, which I think makes its debut with this episode, in production order at least, and it it gives the character a less heroic and kind of
not alone, Matt.
derpy expression because you can see the... Oh, made them jump. Oh, a crash zoom and everything.
He's alive, but what's wrong with him, Steve?
He's a Fireball XL5 guest character, Matt. They can often be quite ugly.
Right back to Fireball. This place gives me the creeps.
Yes, the blinking head. Because you can see the tops of the eyelids, even when it's not blinking.
He's in a deep state of...
And something about the hair just doesn't work.
His crew.
I diagnose he's been in this hypnotic coma for several days.
And they kind of cut back and forth between the two heads in this one with no real rhyme or reason for much of it. Anyway, they are bringing the tanker back to Earth and they found a hypnotized man aboard.
How's Robert making out?
Just fine. You'd think he'd been flying tankers all his life.
Aww.
Steer tanker 1750 green.
Destroy the humans. Oh dear. Poor Robert.
Fireball XL5 entering Earth's atmosphere, Commander Zero.
Roger, Lieutenant 90. All systems go. Colonel Zodiac, report to control on touchdown.
That's how you can tell this is a very early episode. They're not sort of... they haven't got the banter between particularly 0 and 90 yet, if they're calling each other by rank and name, rather than just the usual, I know that, 90, shut up. Anyway, freighter touching down, Space City. XL5 looks to be landing on top of the launch ramp. Oh, they cut away before then. Yeah. I'm guessing Venus was at the controls for that one.
You know, this is the 4th tanker we found abandoned in the past few weeks. They were all on the same route, delivering fuel to Gran Venia. But we haven't come up with any answers yet.
Well, I've got news for you, gentlemen. The tanker pilot isn't going to come up with any answers either. He's still in a state of deep hypnosis.
Well, thank you for telling us that a man who's basically in a coma can't answer questions. You've earned your doctorate of space medicine today, Venus.
We'll just have to wait.
Things sure are against us. But I've got another idea.
Tanker EF Z5 space...
Yeah, if we've lost half a dozen tankers already, let's send out another tanker. That's a brilliant idea. Crewed by a man who seems to have quite a... he's got a bit of a stoop. That kind of sort of... he's kind of pushing his bottom out a little bit. Anyway, XL5 presumably is launching to escort the tanker.
It could be very dangerous too, Steve. We don't know what's out there.
We'll soon find out. We'll be approaching a location where we found Tanker 4 very shortly.
So Matt is... Actually, that's a question. Why does the table in Matt's lab revolve?
Steve?
This could be it, Matt.
Because the monitor that he's using stays fixed on the desk no matter where, what attitude the desk has. I just noticed that Venus was talking and she sat at the desk and she sort of is rotated backwards out of shot. It must be quite disorienting to be sat at that desk if you're not working and to suddenly find yourself
almost
being reversed backwards around the room.
Soft.
Anyway, the XL5 crew have come across something something rather round and glowy, with nice, peaceful, soporific music. And so has the tanker.
This is the cause of the tanker pilot's hypnotic trance.
Let's continue to stare at it.
My readings show that the sphere is unmanned.
Matt's got plastic protractors and set squares and compasses on his desk.
It is pleasant not to have to think. Relax.
So now Steve has a reason to have his blinking head on.
Gently.
But it does make him look like he's got a severe case of bed hair before he's even gone to sleep.
Steve,
Matt's out.
We're being hypnotized.
Yep, thank you.
I can't fight it. Nothing can.
Wait.
Don't judge your failures and attribute them to everyone else. Surely someone can fight it.
Robert, you've got to help.
Oh, it's a wasting of time there. Anyway, the tanker pilot's well under the control. You would think that It's changing. They would have assumed that there's a possibility of they themselves falling under the hypnotic spell of whatever's affected the other tankers. And it's only just now occurred to them that Robert wouldn't be affected.
It is peaceful here.
Change to course 5170 red, Robert.
Roger.
No, Robert. Keep to present course.
Oh, don't start confusing Robert. This never ends well.
You must obey.
5170 red.
5170.
Robert's being messed around so terribly.
No, Robert. Keep present course.
And that's it. Steve's gone. Oh, no, he's back.
To course 5170 red.
That's it. Robert's... Oh, karate chopped Steve's neck, and Steve's out for the count. Also got to show off his beautiful white teeth before he went down. And I suppose this is the first in what I always found was a great strength in Fireball XL5, that they could make it quite not just sinister, but there was a sort of surreal sinister. Oh, yes. I would say definitely this is the first example of Fireball XL5's surreal sinisterness.
The Earth patrol ship has escaped me.
We're meeting the grand villain behind the hypnotic sphere.
System is foolproof.
It's a brain in a jar with an eye.
It is not lost.
And it's pulsating.
Collide with Mirana, the planet of fire.
Planet of fire. Well, there's only one way to get out of that. We must make sacrifice to Logar. Yeah, this is a brain in a jar. Always classy, and yeah, it does look very similar to weren't there brains in jars in an early Doctor Who? Keys of Marinus. I'm sure there was a brain in a jar in the Keys of Marinus. This one's all on his own, as many Fireball XL5 aliens tended to be, either alone or in pairs, and they're heading straight towards...
the voice.
The planet of fire.
Steered us clear.
Because rather than be useful, Robert has completely scrambled his own brain and decided to...
Mirana. And we're headed straight for it.
Steer them onto a collision course with a fire planet.
We've got to pull her out, and fast.
And they did. They're okay.
That sure was a close call.
The voice. It's gone.
There are only 28 in my head now, not 29.
Yes, we only had a mild dose of that hypnotic treatment, or we'd be in a coma like that tanker pilot.
It's all right, Steve. I'll be thinking straight in a minute or two.
So that was a fairly eerie sequence there. Possibly went on slightly too long. And ultimately...
Pity you can't give us any information, Robert.
But he can't.
It kind of highlights that Robert...
Robert records everything at all times.
Is as much of a liability as he is useful.
Then discover the route that voice tried to make us follow.
Because although he's recorded the information that they need to find the planet of the great brain in a jar, he can even recreate the voice himself. Yeah, he is a liability when it comes to, like, conflicting instructions that cause him to attack fellow crew members.
Okay, Robert, that's enough. Course 5...
Nobody seems to mention that. Nobody seems bothered.
If we are to go back there, we must destroy that sphere.
Or wear sunglasses.
We'll reveal our suspicions. Let's follow it back to its base.
The base could actually be an upside-down colander.
You unloaded the cargo into my storage.
I'm not sure, but it could be.
It is done. I must obey.
For you are a brain in a jar.
Tanker into space and...
I want to know this brain's backstory.
All the fuel I need will come from the next tanker to come under my influence.
So how did it build the sphere? I'm assuming I think it said there it's the only one on the planet.
Shall be master of the universe.
Universal domination, yes. A very realistic goal for a brain in a jar. Oh, It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Now all we have to do is...
I mean, talk about,
systems and the hypnotic voice.
Looking to go beyond your limitations. I mean, all power to the brain in a jar.
Yeah, Venus.
He's not going to let it...
of the ship.
stop his ambitions.
Seat of your pants. But don't worry, Steve. I'll work out the necessary calculations to keep Fireball on course.
So the XL5 crew have blacked out all the windows, which is a good idea.
It appears that the Earthling escort spaceship did not crash into Miran. I will launch the sphere again.
And presumably he only has the one hypnotic sphere. I would imagine if he had like a whole army of them, then he'd be absolutely irresistible, although it does beg the question of how he even managed to build one, considering he is a brain in a jar with an eye. And it is rather...
You are in my...
Again, rather sinister.
Relax. It is so...
The sphere is lighting up XL5. We're seeing a lot of...
we don't have to rely on electronics to...
The wires on the models in this episode. But again, if they're having lights flashed on them, then there's probably no way to avoid that.
The instructions from Robert's recording.
And this is really nice, tranquil music as well from Barry Gray.
Hey, Steve, more spheres. There must be 30 of them.
Wait, how do you see that? You're standing in front of a window that's blacked out.
Going into land.
We'll hear that voice.
What? How? Was she peeking through a little crack?
Yes, Steve.
Let's play it cool.
Play it cool as we go and visit the brain in a jar who lives in a colander.
Right. Wait for it.
It's gonna be goofy.
Earthling patrolmen. Come towards the door.
Play along with him.
Still no eye protection on our heroes, though. They were wise enough to black out the windows on Fireball. For a while, anyway, but...
You are in time to see me conquer the universe.
Yeah, there are stages to that, I'm sure, between,
ties the universe.
You know, between starting the project and ending the project. You've got to sort of... No. Okay.
You cannot win, Earthman.
What can we do, Matt? Venus?
Oh, the brain in the jar is too scary.
That's it, Steve. The temperature in this place would drop in no time if the heating system was damaged.
You are right, Earthling. I am delicate, and the cold would kill me.
Yeah, but don't... If your plans are to conquer the universe, don't tell anybody your fatal weakness.
You will soon be at ease.
Anyway, he's turned on the hypnotic lights. And again, this is where that eye protection would have come in great handy.
Heat system. I'm so tired.
I must do it. Dear.
I'm sorry, I'm still fascinated by this brain in a jar's backstory. What is going on with him?
Troy, the heat.
Was he the only one? Was he created? Is he...
Relax.
It is such a wonderfully 1950s pulp sci-fi thing, you know, our dashing explorers and their great rocket and laser guns and brain in a jar. Oh, it's so... You just don't get many brain in jars as villains today, anyway.
Fight this drowsiness.
And it's just occurred to me, actually, this is coming suspiciously close after Stingray's Invisible Enemy, which also featured aliens brainwashing or putting into comas various people, which is a interesting coincidence. Anyway, having told the XL5 crew...
I've done it!
...of his fatal weakness, Steve has now taken advantage of it.
We're out of the hypnosis.
Shot the heating unit, and the brain in a jar has just shriveled up.
And that means the tanker pilot will be okay too.
I know this somehow, probably.
We all freeze.
Why would the tanker pilot be released just because the brain is dead? I mean, it's possible, but it's not absolutely definite. He could be...
How are the tanker crewmen we found on Savetta?
They're out of the hypnosis, Steve. They'll be fine in an hour or two.
Oh, good.
That's great. Well, I guess that calls for a celebration.
Yep.
Yep. We sure have something to celebrate.
We killed a brain in a jar and, Yeah. Well, I guess that's the end of Fireball XL5. Fireball XL5 Hypnotic Sphere, as directed by Alan Patillo, and much of that is, fairly sinister and eerie. Not quite up to the slightly more unsettling episodes that will come later, like Last of the Xanadus and Robert to the Rescue. The sort of hypnosis sequences on Fireball XL5 maybe took a bit longer than were really necessary, but for an early episode, I think it's it's a good episode too.
Jupiter, and maybe very soon.
But I'm sorry, Brain in a Jar as come on, that is. I don't know if that's the silliest thing I've ever seen or the most wonderful thing I've ever seen. I am going to skew mostly towards the latter. I have lots of questions about the Brain in a Jar, but I'm kind of glad that I'm never going to get them answered, because it's much better to wonder. Brain in a Jar, everybody!
Isn't that unusual timing that we should get that?
Yes.
After the sad news from last week about Alan Patillo and, of course, Nicholas Parsons.
Yes, but it just goes to show, doesn't it, that their work always be with us. That's the amazing thing. Sad though it is that we've lost them, they leave such a legacy behind them, and we'll continue to enjoy it, won't we?
Yeah.
Lovely.
Brain in a Jar, I mean, it's a pretty standard baddie, isn't it?
It is. I love that. Brain in a Jar. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, very nice.
And one who tells the Fireball XL5 crew how to kill him. A bit weird. Why are baddies so inept?
Yes, that's true. Well, because we don't actually want them to win, do we? That's the point.
Yeah, I know, but it's always much more exciting if it looks like the baddie could win and they're not, a bit dumb, basically.
Maybe. Yes, point taken.
Anyway, it's a bygone era, it's Fireball XL5, it's cute, it's own little world. So thank you, Chris. Who knows what will come next week? Hopefully not Captain Scarlet, because I don't want to overload our Podsterons with too much.
Yes, fair enough. Well, we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, we don't know.
We will. It is random, of course.
Indeed. Yeah.
Right, that's the end of Pod 87, pretty much, isn't it? Unless there's anything else exciting you want to say?
No, I don't think I have anything exciting to say.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, we said all the exciting stuff earlier on, didn't we?
That's right, exactly. We've had an hour and a bit of it.
And now, if you were offended by any FAB Facts in this week's podcast, then do please email podcast@gerryanderson.co.uk. Address your complaint to Richard N. James.
Thank you.
And he'll deal with those in Pod 88. No, we hope you thought it was a bit of fun. It was certainly a different FAB Fact, and also a bit of an interesting insight into just the relationships between producers and actors sometimes.
That's right.
Goodness me. Thank goodness our relationship isn't like that, eh?
What? Jamie Anderson? Easy. There you go. Bleep that out.
Gosh.
No, well, I had to say it, Jamie. Someone had to.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We all know you're a total bag anyway, Richard. So, right. Well, if you want to listen to and bag next week, then make sure you've subscribed to the Gerry Anderson podcast. If you've enjoyed this one too, do please give us a rating and a review on whatever your app you're listening through, be it Apple Podcasts or Stitcher or Google Podcasts or Spotify or anything like that. Yeah. It all helps people find us. We've got new listeners every week. Welcome if you're a new listener. Apologies for the swears.
It's not always like this.
No, we're normally super clean. And we'll be back in Pod 88 next week.
Yes, that's it.
That's it.
Ta-ta then.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Stage 1 complete.
Let's go.
Spectrum is green.
I didn't mean it, Jamie.
No, I didn't mean it either.
You know I'm only joking. I like it really.
No, I would never say anything like that to your face. I'd keep it for behind your back.
Oh,
so,
right, really?
Yeah, I text Charlotte that sort of thing all the time. We exchange messages. It's just kind of our therapy, how we cope with you.
You know the story about her mobile phone, don't you? I won't go into that again. Do you remember the
the autocorrect?
I think I've mentioned that before. Go back and find it on a previous podcast.
No, we love you really, Richard.
Yeah,
You're an indispensable part of the Gerry Anderson podcast.
Haven't you got a plane to catch?
I do. I better go.
Yeah.
Yes, I was going to wish myself bon voyage then, but I'll let you do that.
Yeah, send us a postcard and bon voyage.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.
You have been listening to the Gerry Anderson Podcast. Wasn't it fun?